You're sitting on $2.2 billion of taxpayer money. No vertical tail, no right angles. Beneath your boots sits enough nuclear yield to rearrange a continent. Enemy radar doesn't see you, but the crushing weight of being invisible is pressing against your chest. Don't blink, this is your life. Level 1, the filter. You are 18. You didn't stumble into this career. You applied 3 times before the Air Force said yes. You've endured the AFOQT, the medical gauntlets, and the psychological evaluations designed to find a crack in your soul. Now you're in a windowless room. 4 officers stare at you with unblinking eyes. They ask, if ordered to strike a city block containing a high-value target and 500 non-combatants, would you release the weapon? You answer yes without flinching. You aren't a psychopath, you're a professional. They aren't looking for a hero, they're looking for a person who can function when morality becomes a secondary variable to the mission. Undergraduate pilot training begins at Laughlin Air Force Base, Texas. The heat is a physical weight. The schedule is a meat grinder. Wake up at 4:30, ground school by 6, aerodynamics, navigation, meteorology. You memorize checklists like religious scripture because at 50,000 feet, they serve the exact same purpose. Your first flight is in a T-6 Texan II. The instructor says nothing encouraging. He watches your hands. He watches your eyes. He watches the half-second delay when the horizon tilts 40 degrees and the Texas dirt fills your windscreen. Out of 24 cadets, 6 are gone by month 4. No dramatic goodbyes. Their lockers are just empty one morning. You learn the first rule: don't get attached. In this world, everything is replaceable. Level 2, negotiating with physics. You're 20. You've moved to the T-38 Talon, a supersonic twin-engine needle. It doesn't fly, it negotiates with physics, and physics doesn't like to compromise. Night formation begins. You are holding position 30 feet off a lead aircraft's wing at 400 knots in total darkness. You are navigating by a single row of dim blue lights on a wingtip. 1 degree of drift and you aren't a pilot anymore. You're a debris field. Your instructor, a former F-15 ace, whispers into your headset, "Scan. Always scan." He teaches you the law of cognitive tunneling. If you stare at the altimeter for 3 seconds, you're dead. If you fixate on the fuel gauge, you're dead. You learn to distribute your consciousness across 12 instruments in the void outside. You graduate in the top tier. Assignment night. The room is thick with tension. F-16, C-17, KC-135. Then your name is called. 2 words, B-2 Spirit. The room goes silent. The B-2 isn't just a plane. It is the most advanced flying machine in existence. A flying wing. Radar invisible. Nuclear capable. There are only 20 on Earth. Your future is now classified. You call your parents. You tell them you got a good assignment. You tell them nothing else. Level 3. The Apprentice Ghost. You are 23. B-2 qualification takes 14 months. You learn systems that don't appear in public manuals. The aircraft has no tail, meaning it is aerodynamically unstable. It is held in the air by 4 redundant flight computers running simultaneously. It feels less like a plane and more like an idea someone made aerodynamic. Your first solo flight lasts 6 hours over the Great Plains. From 50,000 feet, the curvature of the Earth is a pale blue arc against the black of space. You are one of fewer than 100 people currently qualified to fly this. The near failure. Hour 25 of a long-range mission profile. You are trailing a KC-135 tanker over the Pacific in a heavy storm. The refueling boom is feet from your cockpit glass. A sudden downdraft drops your wing. The disconnect alarm screams. For a split second, you are a blind 80-ton glider in a gale. You don't panic. You reset the flight director. You reconnect. You only allow yourself to breathe once the fuel is flowing. You realize that stealth doesn't mean safe. Level 4. The left seat. You're 27. You are now the aircraft commander. You sit in the left seat. You are responsible for the $2 billion airframe and the mission pilot beside you. You carried the silver bullet. Your mission folder is classified at a level most generals never see. You deploy to Diego Garcia, a coral footprint in the Indian Ocean. From here, you can reach any coordinate on the planet. One night, a real-world alert comes through, not a drill. You and your co-pilot, Captain Reyes, sit in the cockpit for 4 hours, engines idling, weapon codes authenticated. You sit in the dark, watching the clock, while decision-makers on the other side of the planet deliberate. Then, the mission is stood down. You taxi back, you shut down. You never speak about that night again. You learn that the greatest missions are the ones that never happen. Level 5, the Gatekeeper. You are 31. You are an instructor pilot. You no longer fly for yourself. You fly to find the flaw in the next generation. You watch a young lieutenant, technically brilliant but arrogant. In the simulator, when the primary targeting system fails over denied territory, he freezes for 1.5 seconds. You write unsatisfactory in red ink. He protests, "It was only a second." You look him in the eye and say, "At our velocity, a second is 500 meters. 500 meters is the difference between a successful penetration and a surface-to-air missile ending the mission. Do it again." You aren't teaching him to fly. You're teaching him to become a meat-based microprocessor. Level 6, the Architect of Shadows. You're 36. You are the operations officer. You spend your days in a SCIF, a sensitive compartmented information facility. You manage readiness rates and nuclear evaluations. You stop hearing the word sortie and start hearing strategic posture. You are a gear inside a global machine. You attend briefings where you analyze the S-400 radar envelopes of adversaries. You calculate dead corridors, slips of airspace where terrain and atmospheric interference create a hole just large enough for a B-2 to slide through. You realize your job isn't about flying anymore. It's about the mathematics of survival. Level 7, the Squadron Commander. You are 40. You command the 393rd Bomb Squadron, 300 personnel, 12 aircraft. You are the link between the Pentagon and the cockpit. Your aircraft are on continuous alert. At any moment, a B-2 can be airborne within minutes of a presidential order. The silent realization: you are standing in the hangar at 2 o'clock. One B-2 is under maintenance, its matte black skin reflecting the yellow hangar lights. You look at the target list for a major combat operations scenario. You see the names of cities. You look out the window at the quiet Missouri night, seeing the lights of civilian homes near the base. You realize the terrifying paradox of your life. You spend every waking hour preparing to destroy a world you are sworn to protect. You feel a heavy, cold stillness. You don't tell anyone. You just go back to your desk. Level 8, the Nuclear Custodian. You're 45. Wing Commander. You oversee the only B-2 wing on Earth. Your authority covers the personnel, the planes, and the nuclear gravity bombs stored in hardened igloos beneath the soil. You spend your time in Omaha at Stratcom or the Pentagon. You sit at tables where the maps have no labels because everyone knows what the red circles mean. In a high-level briefing, a 3-star general proposes a change to the readiness posture. It's logical on paper, but you know it will break your crews. You disagree. The room goes quiet, the kind of quiet that follows a gunshot. You lay out the maintenance cycle impacts and the fatigue accumulation data. You don't raise your voice. You don't have to. 3 weeks later, the policy is modified. You've saved the fleet from a self-inflicted wound. Level 9, the Strategist. You are 51, a general officer. You are advising on the B-21 Raider transition, the aircraft that will eventually replace your legacy. You've seen the classified performance data. It's faster, stealthier, and more integrated. You realize your era is ending. A junior analyst presents a transition timeline that is dangerously optimistic. He underestimates the tribal knowledge required to fly a stealth wing. You correct him with the precision of a surgeon. Afterward, a colleague says the analyst will remember that lesson for the rest of his career. You think back to Major Calloway in the T-38. The chain of excellence remains unbroken. Level 10, the last flight. You are 56. Your final flight in the B-2 Spirit is a training profile over the Midwest. No weapons, no alert. Just you and a young mission pilot who reminds you of a ghost from 30 years ago. At 50,000 feet over Nebraska, you level off. You look out through the cockpit glass at the arc of the planet. It's the same view it's always been. You think about the missions that stayed in the dark. The nights in Diego Garcia. The 32-hour marathons where you hallucinated from exhaustion but never missed a checklist. You think about the 20 aircraft, the 2 lost to accidents, the 1 still flying. You descend back to Whiteman. You grease the landing out of habit. You taxi to the shelter and shut down the F-118 engines. The high-pitched whine fades into a ringing silence. You sign the maintenance log for the last time. You hand your helmet bag to the crew chief. You walk across the ramp in the Missouri afternoon. You don't look back. Not because you don't care, but because you've spent 30 years being the thing that no one sees coming. The sky never knew your name. That was the whole point. Your legacy isn't written in the clouds. It's written in the peace that held while you were on watch. If you found this mission profile insightful, hit the like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's most elite units. What should your life be next? A nuclear submarine captain or an AC-130 gunship pilot? Let us know in the comments. Mission complete.